RIP avant-garde jazz pioneer Burton Greene, 1937 to 2021. If I have tried anything in the music, it was always about trying to contribute to the universal consciousness. So that's what I'm working on. I'm trying not to get disturbed by the so-called ups and downs. I try to bring that quality out in music wherever I can. Burton Greene. Chicago-born pianist Narada Burton Greene, b. 1937, can be called a veteran of the 1960s jazz avant-garde, the starting point of his universal musical life. In 1962, he moved to New York and founded, together with bassist Alan Silva, the Form Improvisational Ensemble, which played improvised music without preconceived compositional elements. In 1965, he became a member of the Jazz Composers Guild, founded by Bill Dixon and Cecil Taylor. The Jazz Composers Guild resonated with the community spirit that Greene had grown up with through his father's social democratic family tradition. But the communal project lasted only 6 months. Disgusted with the materialistic American dream that lacked an understanding of community and experimental art and quickly turned a free artist's life into a precarious existence, he moved to Europe in 1969, where he worked with Tchicai and Willem Breuker, among many others. Since 1986, he has been living on his own houseboat in Amsterdam. Greene's free improvisational approach is open to eminently heterogenous musical languages that he touches on with his different band projects, and also when he plays solo piano, from jazz to the bitonal music of Bela Bartok, Igor Stravinsky and Charles Ives, the music of Karl-Heinz Stockhausen, and right up to Indian ragas, klezmer, Sephardic, and Hasidic music. My mother was a classical music teacher. During the Great Depression, she was teaching in New York, where she met my father in the late 20s. They got married just at the time of the beginning Depression. She was teaching piano at that time. She had studied with Walter Dambrisch, who was a famous conductor, at Columbia University. My father was selling eyeglasses from Europe and New York. They moved to Chicago in the early 1930s. My father's people were Greenbergs, not Greene. My father had shortened his name to sell the eyeglasses to the optical trade. People loved the eyeglasses, but didn't like his long nose. There was lots of anti-Semitism at the time, especially in small towns in the Midwest. My parents had a small attic flat without hot water, and my mother was pregnant with my older brother. My father was getting desperate to sell his glasses. When he told one optometrist his name was Greene, the optometrist said, "Oh, then you could be related to the English Greenes?" He got his first order and more to come. So, then he could afford a real apartment, and finally, in 1941, they had a small house built on Drake Avenue on the north side of Chicago, where I grew up. My mother had a small baby grand piano in the living room. At 5 years old, I was hearing all this great boogie-woogie. This was early 40s.